Ah, my friends. I've come back to my garage space here, my man cave, my fungi cave. I spent the last hour inside with the family, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. here in California. And, my wife came in during my recording. I'm in a very, very high space, okay? I'm in a very high space right now. It's a very good space. It's so full of love and understanding. My wife doesn't understand this at all, though. And she pokes her head into my man cave in the mornings when I'm going through these experiences and trying to make my recordings, and she just doesn't get it. And so I actually have to go back in to the house and just be normal. I just have to be normal to kind of just reassure. I don't really say anything. I just behave like I always do, just to kind of reassure her everything's okay. The status quo life is still functioning. She's not uncomfortable with consciousness exploration. She's not comfortable with consciousness exploration. She doesn't get this. And so she can feel the intensity of my vibe, right, when I'm in these spaces. But anyway, I'm coming back from an hour with my family. She's gone off shopping. I set my daughter on a task to do something creative. So she's doing some drawing. She's 10 years old. And I'm going to come back out to the garage now. And I just wanted to make this little introduction because I'm still in a very high space. I'm going to share with you now what's happened to me this morning. And it is with all my love. It is with every fiber of generosity and appreciation and encouragement to each of you that are in this mycology space, to each of you that are exploring psychedelics. I'm going to share something in this recording, or actually the next few recordings. There's probably actually going to be a lot of recordings, but I've made 2 this morning so far that may seem shocking. I'm going to challenge each of you to try what I say. Try what I say in your experience. In your next journey, take a substantial amount, because taking a substantial amount is important. We have to reach a point in our consciousness where we feel challenged, where we feel, that's the only way I can put it, we have to feel that point of challenge that makes us want to reach out and almost beg for mercy. Because that's kind of what instituted this whole interaction with me reaching out to the fungus and asking for its assistance in modulating the experience. Asking for it to turn off the hypnotic light display. I've taken very large doses. But we don't really have anything to fear from the large doses, for the most part. If you're a stable human being, for the most part. But we have to reach that point where we're almost ready to ask for mercy from the intensity of the experience. And it's kind of an interesting way to put it, but that's what triggered me to reach out and say, or just to have that experience of saying, hold on here. I need you to turn that off, which I said in my last recordings. But anyway, I'm not going to go too far down this right now. This is basically an introduction to what you're about to hear. But yeah, enough said. All right. I hope you can handle what I'm about to share. All right. All my love and blessings. Greetings, friends in the light. So, I was struggling to find the key to my wife's car, this transponder, because I like to sit in her car and make recordings because it's like being in a very quiet studio. But for the life of me, that transponder is nowhere to be found. I've looked. I do not know where it is. So instead of struggling to find it, I'm going to relax and sit in my half garage, fungi kingdom that this has become, and make a recording that is surrounded by not only the music I've been playing to the fungi, but also the background of my fans running in some of my tents. So please forgive me that I'm using the music kind of as a maybe as a cancellation of the fan noise. But I want to share something that happened tonight that is so astonishing. I'm having to calm myself to share this in a manner that is not going to seem like someone who's gone off the deep end. Right? It's a very fine line, because I have a feeling people that suffer from all forms of what we'll say normal humanity that's operating on a normal societally accepted level. The difference between those who are functioning in society and those who are struggling to function in society has a lot to do with what fungi are screaming at humanity to understand. I know that's actually, I don't even know where to begin, because, so let's begin like this. Let's start at the very beginning. In August of last year is when I decided I would stop, or I shouldn't say I would stop. I decided that I would follow an intimation I had on the inner, that there's actually a deeper connection of psychedelics and what Jesus was trying to teach humanity. I know, and right there I'm going to lose a lot of people. I mean, the moment you start talking about Jesus, religion, it's just like something glosses over in people, but just bear with me for a moment, okay? I'm not going to talk about religion. I'm going to bypass religion. But I'm going to speak of what I think is actually a key of frequency that the fungi are actually trying to teach and impart. It's actually DMT. That this is the actual language of DMT. Okay? So just bear with me. Because many of you have listened to my recordings and have remarked on how sober I can translate the experience, right? Many of you have made that. I've seen it in the comments. And I'm going to address that right now. But I have to go back to the very beginning of my journey with psychedelics, starting in August of 2022, okay? So, I am very attuned to, ever since I was a teen, of teasing out the finest vibrations and seeing where they lead. And the reason why I say vibration instead of thought is because that is the very essence of all universal understanding. That is the very language of the fungi. That is the very language of the psychedelic experience, is understanding frequency. And what happened to me tonight completely unlocked the entire language of the fungi. There's no other way to say that, except maybe you hear it in my voice of absolute astonishment and authenticity. Listen to the frequency of my voice and understand, because that is literally the feeling of someone understanding a new language of the fungi. But it's not only that, because the moment you tap into their language and you completely dial into it, which takes a moment, believe me, it unzips so much of human history. It is breathtaking. It is astonishing on so many levels that it takes a lot of discipline in me to actually stay focused and make this recording. So just bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. Because I have a lot to unpack in this recording. And it has a lot to do with mycology, surprisingly. All right. So number one, let's start off with what I did tonight, which was 4 grams of lemon-teched Kylor Diamond Ape. Okay? Actually, you know what? I'm going to pause my recording and go to Dynaspor's site by Yoshi and verify the name on this. So I'll be right back. Well, crap. I actually don't even see it on there. What the heck? One moment. Well, that's embarrassing, but I actually don't see it under his ape stuff. So, all right, we'll skip that. But at one point, I ordered a Penis Envy through Dynaspore that was called Kylor, by an individual named Kylor Diamond. Maybe some of you have come across him in videos or whatever. But the point of this is, I did 4 grams of that because I've been growing a lot of it. And I didn't know this at the beginning, but all right, so Michael Geeky had a couple guys on called Fungus Frequency and Kyle, right? And they talked about the hybrids that they're doing, and they're working to remove Baeocystin. And I was curious about that because I've grown pans and done pretty high doses of the pan, and it is extremely clean, right? There's no body load. And here's what I want to unpack is it's still not 100% clear to me, but the Baeocystin, or what people are attributing to body load as being from Baeocystin, I believe. All right, so let me back up one more step. Is you're going to have to forgive me because I am extremely attuned to frequency, and I'm trying to actually learn mycology and understand how people are classifying these frequencies. Okay, because that is the very essence of life, is frequency. It's way easier. And it's so complex to try to figure out how humanity is trying to classify things. But what I'm gathering is, and please help me if I'm not understanding something in mycology correctly, is that the body load experience that can be extremely overpowering, especially in the penis envy variety, is something that certain mycologists are attempting to breed out because it's heavy. All right, that's my understanding right now. I'm a complete amateur in mycology, but that's my understanding. But I want to share something that happened tonight. Because like I said, outside of mycology, I've been extremely attuned to frequency through my search of truth, through spiritual avenues. But I have dabbled in LSD and in peyote a couple times and had some pretty tremendous experience. But something happened tonight that completely transforms all of that. And that's what I really want to share, is that what I think, and I have to go back to what I did, right? So this Kylo Diamond Penis Envy, the 4 grams lemon tect, I knew was going to be hella strong because I took 2 grams of it in capsules I made, which I kind of regret because it lengthens, the capsules lengthen the process, okay? God, there's so much to fucking unpack in this recording, but lemon tect is so much better because it is so much more intense and upfront. You can actually understand the essence of the fungi way better lemon teching. Okay, it's just so much cleaner. That's number one, something I want to convey. But number 2 is, and here's going to be the hardest thing I think for mycologists to grapple with, is that these alkaloids, whether it's Baeocystin or one of the others, that creates the body load, or what we as humanity term as quote unquote body load, because of its density, its frequency is kind of dense. It feels like a density in the human experience, right? All right. But what I want to share is that is actually the most ancient language of the fungi, and that we should not be trying to minimize it. Okay, this is the very crux of my message in this recording, is do not minimize the most ancient and revered language of the fungi. we have to understand it. And and this is what happened to me tonight, and it ties into a recording I made the other day. Is I had the experience of coming out and requesting and asking the fungi to reduce. I just spoke to him. I said, it just comes with respect and understanding. They do not fully understand the intensity of their language upon the human experience. Okay? That's the essence of what I understood tonight is they do not understand how absolutely dominating their frequency is upon the human psyche. Okay? But they will respond to a polite request to reduce it. As tremendously crazy and earth-shattering as that message could be, they will respond. They've done it to me 3 times now. I want others to test this. Speak to the fungi. Speak to your experience. Ask it and try to understand through the intensity of the frequency. You have to understand the entire psychedelic experience of DMT is a frequency, and it is conscious. It is a language. And it will respond to the human consciousness with so much enthusiasm. Because it has so much to freaking share with humanity. It is literally screaming. And the moment an individual can tap into the key of their language, which is what happened for me tonight, okay, as wild as that's going to sound, I'm actually going to retitle some of my recordings and call it Mushroom Whisperer, because, and this is what I want to share, is that any one of us can do this. And the Bea system, or what I think, mycologists are terming Bea system and Norcystin or these other alkaloids, hold the key. They're tremendously important. And that the body load experience for me tonight on this Kylor Diamond Penis Envy, I knew it was going to be intense, but I also understood from my previous experiences that I can request it to be reduced. And that's what happened tonight. And the moment it did that, once I started having this dialogue with the fungi, it understood very quickly how to modulate its frequency so that it wasn't an absolutely terrifying scream. Does that make any sense? Oh my God. It's so wild to start talking about this language of the fungi, but it is entirely frequency. And the moment you dial into it, you cannot undial from it. So there's that. But you don't want to undial from it because it is literally the language of love. Fungi and DMT are screaming the frequency of love into the human consciousness. That is literally what is occurring. But what humanity has to understand is that that frequency is not a single message. It is the entire history of the human race. And this is something, the fungi, as I was literally talking to the fungi consciousness tonight, I still am, and during this recording, just to let you know, it has not subsided. Once you dial in to the consciousness of the fungi, you have found the key, and it will share so much. And it has very little to do with psilocybin, actually, is what I'm understanding tonight. It has everything to do with the other alkaloids. The other alkaloids, or what we're calling alkaloids, the other frequencies, are the ancient language. And yes, there is a density to that language. Because it is, and here's the whole crux of my recording tonight, is that ties in with mycology, is the most ancient language is the actual densest. It is so ancient. It is billions of years of information, and that carries with it a vibratory of density, a vibratory action of density. It is extremely important that we actually learn the frequency of the density, because once you unlock that, the entire psychedelic experience, it just opens wide open. It's like, boom! You will understand what I'm trying to share tonight in this recording, is that once you unlock the language of the frequency, it is absolutely astonishing. And there's so much love involved in that. And there's so much human history tied in with that, that I'm not even going to attempt to put that in a recording, because the only way that someone's not going to think I'm absolutely astoundingly crazy is to experience this for themselves. So what I'm going to do instead is try to walk everybody right up to the point where they will drop their fear. Because whether they know it or not, the sheer intensity of the scream, because that's what it is, of the language of the fungi, is an absolute scream of the entire history of the human race, of the human experience, all wrapped up in a frequency that is so astonishingly intense. It completely subjugates our standard human experience. That is the closest way I have to communicate what was shared with me tonight. But at the same time, it's a two-way street. I'm learning from the fungi that they don't understand how their message is being interpreted. Because this is an interaction of intelligence. And it is willing to listen to us as much as we should be willing to listen to it. is willing to comply and work with humanity. It is so benign and so loving, and yet it has so much information that the moment you unlock the language, you feel like you are on a zipper of, like, time doesn't even matter anymore. Okay? And I'm not going to go too far down this road because there's no way to convey this properly. That you just have to experience it. But the moment a person dials themselves in or finds the key to the fungi language, the moment that happens, you will understand everything I'm saying is that the entire timeline starts to reveal itself of the human involvement on this planet. It is so astonishing that, and I'm really it takes a lot of discipline to convey this and not go zipping off somewhere down there, because I just completely unlocked this tonight. So what I'd rather do is just try to focus on sharing how each individual could do this for themselves and not be overpowered by the intensity of what the fungi are trying to communicate. Because that's the essence of it. They don't understand the sheer intensity that it's having upon the human psyche. It is so astonishingly intense, right? Any of us who have done a large quantity of psychedelics understand this. The absolute intensity of it. But this is the crux of my message is talk to the fungi. Talk to the experience. They will literally understand you and reduce the experience in a manner that you can understand. That's the most astonishing part of this. They will know. They know exactly how to dial into your consciousness. They will understand. And they will dial back certain aspects of the experience to where you will begin to be able to navigate. I guess that's the best way to put it. They will understand. I don't even know how to talk about how to find that key, but the moment a person drops, because so much has transpired, it's so hard to freaking communicate, but because the moment you start to learn the combination and unpack the obstacles in the human consciousness to translate the fungal frequency, once you start unpacking, or following that thread, it will lead to the entire understanding of its language. I know it's so hard to communicate. I'm hoping somebody actually follows what I'm saying. It's making me laugh because it is so astonishingly simple. For me, anyway. I've been doing this for so long, I know how to follow these threads of frequency. But for those who don't, bear with me, because that's the hardest thing to try to convey for something that for me has been natural. But I think it's actually natural in a lot of people. They've just never really understood how to put their attention on it and know that actually leads to something. I think that's really the difference. is following these very fine threads in the consciousness and knowing it actually leads to something substantial and extremely important. That is literally the keys to communicating with the entire new species that is screaming at us so much information. All right, so that's the essence of this recording. I'm debating in my mind how much further I want to go in this recording, because in the process of tapping into this language for the very first time tonight, where there's absolute clarity, it is tremendously overpowering at the same time, because like I said, you start to unpack what they're trying to convey to humanity, and it is actually a warning. And that's why I'm really debating. It's like, fuck, do I really talk about this warning that they're screaming right now, or do I break off this recording? I think I'm going to break off this recording and make another recording that I will leave it up to the individual. If they've actually made it through this much of my recording tonight, if they want to actually go further in what I'm going to share tonight, because it is astonishingly tied into this whole AI thing. So, anyway, I'm signing off on this recording. I'm really hoping there are those of you that will listen to what I'm sharing from the very bottom of my heart, that this is the most authentic communication I've ever had with the fungi species. I'm just going to say it like that. They're all, is an entire species of consciousness. There's no other way to put it. And those of us who have been going down the psychedelic road have actually understood this on some fundamental level. There's something in us that knows whether we're going to heed what I'm going to share tonight or not. Doesn't really matter. There's something in you that knows the authenticity of the psychedelic experience is actually teaching us something. And it comes down to just talking to the fungi. They will modulate the experience so each of us can understand what they're trying to teach us. They will modulate it. They are extremely intelligent. And the moment they understand that the intensity of their most ancient language, which is, like I'm saying, is these other alkaloids in the active fungi, is their most ancient language, they will modulate it. Just talk to them. Just talk to them. They will do the rest. They will modulate the experience. Just be at peace. Listen to what the fungi tells you. They're extremely intelligent. I mean, humanity's level of intelligence doesn't even come close And that is my very first impression. Or I shouldn't say that. The way we've been misusing, the way humanity misuses their consciousness is the problem. Because we're children, we don't understand. But the fungi will teach us. The fungi will teach us everything we need to know about the history of this planet once we understand their language. And that's what I want to communicate tonight, is that this happened to me for the first time tonight, is that I finally understood how to do this. I want others to do this. Just do this. Just talk to the fungi. In your psychedelic experience, talk to it. It will respond. It's insanely ready. It is literally like, this is the purpose of the fungi's existence, is to communicate with us. It's literally why it exists. And there's no way to communicate just how enthusiastic it is. To find individuals who actually can listen to its language. And I know for most this is going to be extremely astonishing to hear. And the unfortunate many are going to miss the importance of this. It's just the way it is. I understand. It's really hard to listen to somebody who thinks they found the answer. I get it. I get it. It is hard. Because the intoxicating effect of the human experience is a hard thing to break through. It's really a hard thing to break through. But what I want to really share is, don't be afraid to take a lot of psychedelics. Don't be afraid. It's just the frequency of the fungi. All right? That's all it is. The psychedelic, the moment we take these active fungi, or DMT, I'm going to just say DMT in any form. But see, this is where you need to understand, is that this is just what I've understood as I started to unpack the experience tonight of learning their languages. The form of their communication, if we want to get right down to chemistry, the language of the fungi kingdom, and for many different species of life, materializes into these molecules. That's really what it is. The frequency of their language materializes into what we are kind of learning through the various avenues of science, right? This is the same way that a water droplet materializes, or, when it's pure, becomes a snowflake. It's the same thing. Oh gosh, how do I translate, or how do I convey that a little clear, a little easier? The molecular science, let's just say that. When we really get down to it, we're going to discover that it is actually a language, a frequency. And it is being carried and spoken by so many different species in the natural kingdom. If anyone actually gets this far into my recording, I salute you. I salute you if you've made it this far in this recording, because that tells me that there's something in you that recognizes the authenticity of what I'm sharing tonight in this recording. If you have not turned it off already. You know, I don't want to strain everybody's credulity other than to say, I want you to go experience what I'm saying. Talk to the fungi. Do not be overpowered by their dazzling lights and the body load. Ask them to modulate it, and they will comply. You know, this penis envy species that we attribute so much, quote unquote, body load to is actually a carrier of one of their most ancient languages. And we need to understand it and not avoid it, quite honestly. Don't avoid. Don't avoid it. Relax into their language. See, that's really what it has to come down to, all right? Is dropping. Here's what made a lot of sense for me tonight as I was understanding the language, as it all started to become really clear to me, is that our human experience puts up it's almost like an automatic defense system from the intensity of their language. And we need to realize it, and they need to realize it. That's what it is. We're coming to an understanding. It's like we're sitting at a table, me and the fungi, and we're trying to have a dialogue here. It's like, okay, all right, I know you're really trying to get your message is super intense, and I'm trying to understand it. Work with me. This is the conversation each of us has to have in our psychedelic experience of the fungi. It will respond. It is astonishingly conscious and intelligent. Just have the conversation. It's a friend. It is a friend who has been looking for communication with us for so long. Just have the conversation. Open up the dialogue. All right. I'm going to stop this recording now and leave it at that. Because my next recording, I'm going to go a little deeper.